They have completed getting communists into our major political aspect and realm of this nation, to lawmaking.
This whole time, this motherfucker wasn't using cameras.
Capture one or both political
This
parties
goddamn
in
piece
the
of shit
United
here.
States. I don't know about you, Democratic Party. They call themselves socialists, following the communist ideology. We also have Republicans, as they call rhinos. They're doing the same thing. They have control of both parties in this country today. It's because we have still sat back and we're allowing it to happen. The American people, I know the ones here in front of me today, I'm preaching to the choir because you know how important it is to get out here and do what we're doing. It's the ones that are watching on Facebook and YouTube and all these other channels, that's the ones that we're speaking to today. Because they're the ones that's not got the gumption to get out from behind their computers and stand up where the politicians can see that it is us, we the people. We are in control and we are tired of it. Let's go on down here a little bit further. Use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. We see that. Every college, every major college has those. Gain control of key positions in radio, television, and motion pictures. That's a given. They've already completed it. Continue disarming American culture by degrading all forms of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculptures from parks and buildings. Substitute shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. We see the attack on the American history today from when they started taking the monuments down in NOLA to the monuments they're trying to take down, even in Shreveport as we speak.
Told Big go over and talk
It's
to
to
him.
do away with our history, just like they tried to do Russia whenever they balkanized Russia. It's happening in America today. And the common people are still sitting back, allowing it to happen. Eliminate all laws governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. Well, we see that as well. All of these news channels, they're putting out what they want you to know. People like us on the conservative side speak out. They're controlling that. They're not allowing it to be put out. Even on Facebook today, these videos that y'all are recording, half of them are going to be shut down and done away with because Facebook censorship does not want you to hear this. Present homosexuality, degeneracy, promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. They are teaching our children, the socialist communist agenda is teaching our children in kindergarten about homosexual and perversion. They're teaching them about bondage. When are we going to stand up as a unit in America and stop them from harming our children's future? Eliminate prayers.
Got a pretty good little crowd here today.
Of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle separation of church and state. Well, it never said we was to separate church and state. It was to say that we were to separate the state's control over the church. Vice versa, the church's control over the state. Discredit the American founding fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. We see Antifa today on the streets downing our founding fathers, calling them racist, calling them all sorts of bigoted names just to discredit them. Belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the ground that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since communists took over. Well, we see it in the schools today. They're teaching Islam. They're teaching the communist and socialist ideology. And they're shunning any child that wants to speak up about their conservative or Christian rights in America. Eliminate the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Well, they're trying that right now. Infiltrate and gain control of more unions. Look across this nation and see what union is not controlled by a socialist or communist agenda now. It's no longer the union people controlling it. It is now the union head controlling it. 39 on the goals. Dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining cohesive control over those who oppose. Well, we see that with this red flag law that's being introduced today. This other law where they're wanting to take your right away from being able to permitless carry. If you have any kind of psychiatric disorder, you fall under that threat. That has been completed, folks. Whether they passed the red flag law or not, we sat back for the past 20 years and allowed them to put laws into place that does nothing but take your freedoms away from you. Emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents. Attribute prejudice, mental blocks, and regarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. That right there is basically telling you they are taking your right as a parent to raise your child the way you see fit in this nation. They're controlling that.
At this First Amendment rally at the state capitol.
Overthrow the colonial government before native population. They've already done that. Internationalize the Panama Canal. Working on that. Repeal colonial reservations so the United States cannot prevent the world tour. We see them today fighting to bring foreign law onto our land.
I did. Will you take a
I just
picture of
scanned
that?
through the majority of the 45 goals of communism presented in 1963 in a book called The Naked Communist.
Well, if you
They
see
laid it
that,
out in
please,
front of you
take a picture
people,
of it for me and
what
send
they're
it to
going
me.
to do to this nation. I have just
Yeah, I
read them
thought I
to
had
you
this straightened out
and
too.
showed you
I
they
went
have
to those
completed
council meetings and
most of their
everything.
goals, while me, you, and everyone else
appreciate
sat
that.
back for years
Hey, I'll talk
allowing
to
it
you
to
later.
happen,
I got
thinking
a
our
keep
vote is going to do
videotaping this,
something. Today,
this, 2A
we
rally.
need to go out when we leave here
And I'll
and let
talk
the
to you
people
later.
know
You
that
know,
it's
so
not
Gary
just
Vee
our
said
vote.
he'd get down
It's
to the
not just
cabin
going in and seeing the
rid of the
politicians and
damn
talking to them
wasps
personally,
and animals.
but it's coming in thousands like the left does, and stand at your Capitol and let it
Call
be
you when I
known
get out of
on a
here.
loud, unison voice that we've had enough. And that's about all I've got to say today. Does anybody have anything they would like to say? Jason, please come on up and speak. And I appreciate everyone.
How's everybody doing today? Pretty good?
Good.
I'm Jason Lambell, the highwayman, and I'm an addict. I'm addicted to freedom, like everybody else. I want to thank everybody for coming out here this Saturday. I know everybody has other things they could be doing, but you know, you're showing that you are the true 3%. You know what I mean? You're here to be recognized and standing for what you believe in. And I want to thank everybody for doing that. You know, we have a group that's out there that we're always up against. It's called Moms Demand Action. Does everybody know who that is? Does everybody know the moms?
Moms demand something.
Yeah. So, you know, the last time they were at our Capitol in Little Rock, the wife and I went up there to take a look to see how many people would actually show up to a Moms Demand Action rally on the Saturday. And I was really surprised to see there was probably about 1,000 people there. So, you know, if the moms were to decide to come today and do a rally, I bet you they would have 1,000 supporters here. And that's the problem that we're running into, is there's just not enough patriots to come out and stand for what they believe in. You got the moms out here, you know, rallying 1,000 strong, coming to all the capitals across the nation, and actually got the ear. You know, they got the ear of all of our government officials, and they're telling them what they want, what the people want. Well, the problem is they're the only ones speaking for people right now. There's not enough of us up here rallying at the Capitol during the weekday. We're all the weekends, maybe here and there, just a few of us. You know, the wife and I went to, this is our second two-way rally this week. We went to one in Little Rock on Thursday. It's about the same turnout. You know, we're looking at just a few people, the real people that want to, you know, actually stand up for our values as a, you know, a nation. And we just we gotta grow our numbers. We gotta start bringing, you know, one person. You know, one guy here, one girl over here needs to bring at least another 10 people with them to the next one. We need to start building. We start taking it to the streets. Everybody thinks that emails and phone calls. Well, I'm going to call my congressman. I'm going to call my senator. You know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to email him. Do you think they really look at that? No. They just, you know, it goes to the junk file, you know, spam folder, right? The only way that we're going to start changing things is to show up in groups, in larger groups. It's going to have to double and triple and quadruple before 2020 because we have a real problem. And, you know, you see everybody shows up to the Trump rallies, you know, 10, 20, 30,000 people show up to these Trump rallies and they, hey, I'm a patriot. I went to a Trump rally. Well, you know what? I went to a rock concert. Does that make me part of the band? I don't know. You know what I mean? But, you know, looking around, I want to thank all you guys. You guys are beautiful. We love you, you know. Anybody else want to come up and talk? Anybody? Yep. All right. Here's James Delbrock. Everybody have a good day. Thank you.
We have one speaker. He's on his way as well. He'll be here shortly. Bill Brown said he would like to speak. Y'all please welcome Bill Brown.
Thanks everybody for being here. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I know I've been to several events. Normally I'm a shut-in because I don't like public places or groups of people. But our freedom and our republic is more important than my fear. I've got a simple question. Are you weak or are you strong? If you're weak, you sit at home, you do nothing, you say, oh, they won't let it happen. If you're strong, you get out, you be seen, and you be heard to make a change. We have to use the same tactics the left has been using against them. Be seen, be visible, be heard. When the senators and other members of Congress see you in person, see you at the Capitol en masse, they hear you more clearly than they do a letter or an email. And probably 2 out of 100 people that say they write or call our elected employees do it. The other 98 don't. They are telling you a line of bullshit. Forgive my language. And the simple fact is, we've lost our republic. All we're doing now is fighting to maintain what freedom we can keep. And that's up to each and every one of us. If we want to make a change, we've got to show our elected employees that we are the boss. Every elected employee of ours that stands behind us and does their job, we have to back them up, prop them up, and be their strength. And part of knowing whether you're strong or weak is identifying your weakness and pushing past it and turning it to a strength, and then amplifying your strength by combining it with your fellow Americans' strengths. And that's working together. There's not one specific chief to the group. It's a group effort. Mm-hmm. And in some instances, it can't be 10 chiefs and 1 brain. Some people got to make concessions and go with the best option available.
You're live on YouTube.
And that may not be your idea.
All right.
It may be somebody else.
Well, it was a good speech you gave, man.
That's right.
That was spot on about the moms.
Yeah, that's our biggest competitor right now. They're killing us.
Yep.
No,
Yeah, I know. Moms Demand Action they're turning out in some real numbers.
Yes, they are.
Being a force to really be reckoned
And
with.
they actually have a texting app that you can find out their nearest location to you when they're going to be out.
Yep.
So, I mean, man, they got things going on, changing things.
Yep. Yeah, they are. They're pulling together, man.
Anyone else like to step up and say a few words today?
Lottie Don.
What's going on, guys?
Well,
Y'all need to get your butts out of here. Get off the couch.
it turned out pretty good so far, really.
Yeah, we got
To be expected.
75 people.
Yeah.
More than we were expecting.
Yeah. That's right.
Got a little
Yep.
bit more.
Yeah, we got a pretty good crowd here. It's spread out, but we got a pretty good crowd here. Everywhere, all over.
I'm the state chaplain for American Patriot 3% here in Oklahoma. And, well, they asked me if I'd get up here and speak, basically because we needed to fill some time until Mr. Stitt can get here. I said, what should I talk about? They said, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about. I said, well, I can talk about nothing. I've often thought I should have become a philosopher or a politician because I am an expert on nothing. I could talk about nothing for hours, and if you're a politician or a philosopher, you can actually get paid to talk about nothing. Nothing is what rocks dream about. But all that aside, there is something I wanted to say. For those of you that, like me, are people of faith, I'm a pastor, I'm a chaplain, I'm a father of 5, I'm a grandfather, and I am a man of faith, I'm a man of peace. And the Bible tells me that as far as it is up to me, I should live at peace with everyone. And I will. Until such time as you attack my family. If you attack my family, I will instantly change from being a man of peace to a man of war. And I will be as brutal as I have to be to protect and save my family. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you're coming after the God-given rights of my children and my grandchildren, then you are attacking my family. That's why I have told my family, I've told anybody who will listen, I'm not afraid to say it. I don't care what the consequences are. If they pass some sort of a red flag law here in Oklahoma and somebody tries to flag me, well, if they show up to take my guns, my family knows they have 2 options. They can stay and stand with me, or they can run out the back door. Because I've already told them what's going to happen. I'm going to tell those that came for my guns, I hope they kissed their wives and got their affairs in order. Because like Charlton Heston said, they can have them when they take them from my cold dead hands. Those guns, that right to self-protection is a God-given right that was given to me, and most importantly for me, to my children and my grandchildren. And if I stand by and let that be taken away, then I don't want my children, don't want to think about the country that my children and my grandchildren are going to grow up in. So, and I have searched the Bible through, and the Bible does not have a problem with self-defense. At some of the rallies, and I've been confronted by anti-gun people, and they've asked me, said, well, what kind of gun would Jesus have? Well, first off, that's a stupid question. Because Jesus was the Son of God. He doesn't need a weapon of any kind. But Jesus did tell his disciples, you know what, if you don't have a sword, go sell your coat and buy a sword to carry with you. And then on top of that, people know the story of when he went into the temple and turned over the tables of the money changers. That's a bit violent. But what a lot of people don't realize is that actually happened twice. And on one of those occasions, he sat up on a hill watching what was happening go on, and it says that he sat there and fashioned a whip before he went down and chased them out and turned over the money, the changing tables. So, God is not against using violence to defend yourself or others. And quite frankly, neither am I. I pray I never have to. But like the Apostle Paul said, once you've prayed and prepared and taken your stand, by all means, keep standing. Thank you very much.
We have another gentleman who'd like to speak. Go ahead and introduce yourself for us.
Hi, I'm Tim Harper, and I'm a member of OK2A, the Oklahoma Second Amendment Association, and we're going to be holding a rally right here on November 1st at 10 a.m. I actually reserved the area from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if anybody wants to come celebrate your right to constitutionally carry a long gun, shotgun, or not even with a permit, carry your pistol here, you're more than welcome to come to my event. I'm going to be setting up my ham radio station here and making contacts all over the country. One thing I wanted to talk about was right before this event started, you may have seen the Highway Patrol, the trooper, come over and take pictures of my gun. And first thing that happened was when I got out of my truck, they said, no long guns. Well, I've got a pistol, and it qualifies as a pistol legally and by definition. But every time I seem to carry this thing, I get swarmed. When I went to Hafer Park and carried an AR-15 pistol, I was drawn down on with AR-15s by the Edmond police, and they questioned everything. And then when they realized that I was complying with every letter of the law, they still asked me to leave the park because it was disturbing and concerning to the citizens there. And what we've got to do is stop that. They've got it to the point here in America where if you see a gun in public, there's something wrong. And it wasn't always that way. And what they've done is they've passed these anti-open carry laws in states so that we're not used to seeing a larger gun in public unless you're out hunting or walking in the gun store. And that needs a change in America, I believe. We need to be able to carry, and in some of the states we can do it. I went up to Kansas and made videos and put them on my channel where I carried a handgun into the police stations. Don't try that here. Because if you do, you will probably end up in jail or probably shot. And there are places where you can do that, but once they pass a law against it, oh my God, things just tip the other way so dramatically that if one day it was legal, you could walk in without suspicion. The next day they pass a law, you go in and you're going to get pounded to the ground and dropped and be in jail for it. And you're not any more dangerous than the day before than the day after. So just like the Mulford Act in California, when they passed it back in 1967, I believe, they did that as the most racist law that California ever passed, but they won't rescind it. And that's because the Black Panthers were walking around their neighborhoods to protect themselves, and people didn't like it because they came to the Capitol with guns and they feared them. So Ronald Reagan passed it and signed it and made it illegal for you to open carry a gun in public. And that's where it starts. And they've been slowly chipping away at your rights out there in California. And as someone said here earlier, things move west or east. And we're usually the last ones to suffer the consequences of other states. It takes about 10 to 20 years before we follow